What's going on, guys? It's your boy Majin Asura, and last night, which was Wednesday night, I got a chance to catch Super Mario Galaxy, the movie. Alright, I went in there with high expectations for a video game movie to a certain degree. You know, I was measuring it up to the last Mario movie. And I think that's a fair assessment, a fair thing to do. A lot of people, they seem to have extremely high expectations for this movie. You know, they really wanted some sort of, they wanted peak cinema from this film. They were expecting a real masterpiece of a movie. And I'm just sitting here and it's Mario. It's Mario. I think people had their expectations far too high, you know, expecting something great. But I must say, the movie, we're going to start with this. Was it better than the first movie? That's a hard thing for me to answer because I think it does certain things better than the first movie, and there's certain things it doesn't do as well as the first movie. In terms of story or story structure, I think the first movie might have it beat in that regard in terms of how it's organized. But in terms of like having fun and stuff like that, the second movie slaps. It's crazy. It was a crazy film, crazy movie. And I was listening to some of the stuff that the critics were saying. They're saying the movie was too packed with too many references, too many Easter egg characters. And to that, I say that's stupid. You know, most of these things are background characters. Alright? There's like only like a handful of like, I want to say like references or guest characters that are like crazy to the film. But it wasn't that many. Like, it's not overcrowded. These are background characters that don't add anything to the plot, that aren't given that much screen time, you know, other than being in the background. People that are saying it's crazy because of the reference, they're haters. Alright, at that point, they're just haters. They're hating that a video game film is going crazy, doing better than their live action film. That's just me. Personally, I didn't feel like the movie was overcrowded, but I did have a different problem. We're going back to the structure of the story. Certain things were built up and then solved like that just to get to the next thing. It was sort of weird. Let's say there's a character that's like gone and they're trying to find that character. They pretty much find them almost immediately, then they go to the next task. It's like, you know, you think it's going to be a whole thing because you're on another planet. I'm not going into specifics. I'll let you know when I'm getting the spoiler. But for an example, someone's on another planet. You think it's going to be a whole quest to get there, and then they just get there almost immediately. It's like, you know, it's weird. It's weird, you know. The structure of the movie was weird. There was a lot going on. Like I said, I didn't dislike the movie. If you like Mario, if you're a huge fan of Nintendo, I think you're going to enjoy the movie. There's Easter eggs for Nintendo fans. If you don't like Mario and you're just going to see a movie, you're not going to enjoy this. If you didn't see the first movie, you're definitely not going to enjoy this. But even if you did see the first movie, I feel like if you're coming to see this alone, first of all, what are you doing watching Mario alone? You'd have to be like a big Mario fanboy, or you'd have to be a Mario dick rider even. You'd have to be a Mario dick rider to come and see this movie alone and actually enjoy it, to be honest. Maybe just a casual, even as a fan, I think you have to have some company with you, you know? It's just not the type of movie you could watch alone. I could watch a Dragon Ball movie in theaters alone. Any anime film, I could watch that in movies alone and enjoy it, but Mario, like, you'd have to be a Mario dick rider to watch that by yourself. I'm just saying. I'm just being 100% honest. I'm sorry. But this is just not the movie you go alone to see. You're just going to be miserable the whole time. Even if you do enjoy it, you know? It's going to be miserable the whole time if you're a casual Mario fan. You know, I went with the crew, so I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the film, but not enough to ignore its flaws. I'm not going to be biased, you know? Yeah, I am a Mario fan, you know? Even though I went with the crew, I am a Mario fan. I recognize a lot of stuff from most of the games. Even though I never played Mario Odyssey, I was able to pinpoint Mario Odyssey references. I don't think that's a spoiler, to be honest, because these movies, they mix games together. They mix a lot of games together. Like the first Mario Bros. Movie, they mixed Mario Kart, Donkey Kong. It was just a whole bunch of games mixed together. This movie mixed a lot together, alright? I am going to get into spoiler, alright? Okay, doing like a half review, spoilerless, and then spoiler review. That's not my style. I just like talking, you know? So yeah, spoiler warning, alright? But this movie is a mixture of Super Mario Galaxy, Plot-wise, Super Mario Sunshine. And then they add elements from Super Mario Odyssey, Star Fox. Then there's a bunch of references to older Mario games with the power-ups and stuff like that. But plot-wise, I feel like it was Sunshine heavy, Galaxy heavy. Because Bowser Jr. was there with the Super Mario Sunshine paintbrush. But instead of painting himself into Shadow Mario, he gave himself some cool little symbiote. Like, it was pretty cool. It looked like a symbiote. It just reminded me of Venom for some reason, but it was really cool. They actually made Bowser Jr. cool. That's not something the games were ever able to do. That's not something Smash was ever able to do. He's a character that I wanted dead for a while. I actually made him a likable character somehow. One thing I didn't like about the movie is the relationship between Rosalina and Princess Peach. It's not a big deal. They did it for the film. It made the film work, actually, but they made Rosalina and Princess Peach sisters, which is not canon in the game. They do not share DNA. They are not related. But, you know, it worked for the movie, I guess. But now you're going to have casuals playing these Mario games and saying, oh, shit, oh, that's Peach's sister, that's Rosalina's. That shit's going to be annoying as hell for the Mario crew, for the Mario fans. You know, and have to explain to people they're not related. They don't share blood. Alright, if Princess Peach was on a deathbed, Rosalina would not be able to give her a blood transfusion to save her life. I'm keeping it a buck. The references were kind of crazy. Yoshi was a great character. I was a little skeptical when they said Donald Glover was voicing Yoshi. I was wondering, how are they going to make this dude sound? And he just sounded like Yoshi to the point that I was wondering, what was the point of even announcing Donald Glover? Like, at this point, he was in it for the bag. You know, you could have just used sound bites from Nintendo. But, you know, there was some unique noises he made. You know, Yoshi's introduction was actually crazy. They actually made him a funny character. Like, you know, he was just walking through New York. They had Biggie Smalls playing in the background as he was casually committing crimes. Alright, unknowingly doing so, but it was just hilarious. The Yoshi scenes were good at the beginning. Bowser Jr. really was the main villain of this film. Bowser, he ended up sort of becoming good temporarily after, you know, some stuff happened and he became big again. After the castle was attacked by Bowser Jr. to try to free his father. But Bowser became big and he actually kept his word. He went to go help Mario, but then, like, funnily enough, Bowser Jr. just corrupted his mind with the same ideals that Bowser corrupted his own mind with when he was younger. So, you know, it was pretty funny. Like, about his kid made him evil again. Bowser was back on his evil energy. And, other than the fast plot, like I said, the movie was good. Fox McCloud was in the movie. Star Fox, that was leaked. They should not have ever spoiled that, in my opinion. He fits the movie because of outer space. It was a smart move to include him in this movie, in my opinion, because he's an outer space type character. Then they let you know he's from another universe, so that worked. He didn't really add anything to the film. He was just their source of travel through space, really. They didn't really rely on star things from Super Mario Galaxy much. They just used Fox's ship. I have no complaints about that. Pikmin were in the movie. They added nothing to the film. They were just in the background. Thank God the ugly Olimar wasn't in the movie. Very ugly character. Hideous even. Hideous character. Every time I see him in the Smash screen, I just shake my head. Like, who made this? Why? Why does he look like this? What is he supposed to be? You know? They had Mr. Game & Watch in the film. Like, Bowser Jr. actually painted Mr. No, it was Luigi, I think. Someone painted the ground and Mr. Game & Watch came out of the paint. That was cool. I think it was Luigi that did it. That caught me off guard. You know, they're really building up a Super Smash Bros. Movie, which I don't know how that's going to work because the Legend of Zelda movie is live action. So they're going to have to do something about that. But probably going to have the live action cast voice them when they animate them. Probably going to be animated if they make a Smash film. They didn't really allude to Smash happening other than having other Nintendo characters in the film. So to get into the basic plot of the movie, it was pretty much just about Bowser Jr. wanting to kidnap Rosalina to build his dream planet that he dreamed about with his dad. Their own world, so they needed the power of a princess. So they kidnapped Rosalina, which she put up a good fight at the beginning. You know, this movie series, they give the princess hands, which they do have hands if you play Smash Bros. And Princess Peach did get her own game. So I'd imagine she's quite capable. Never played it on the DS back in the day. Seen a commercial for it on TV. But yeah, I'd imagine she's quite capable. Rosalina, she's in Smash, so obviously she was doing her thing. But, you know, at the end of the day, Bowser Jr. had his way, kidnapped her, right? Kidnapped the Luma. And that was that, you know. Luma got away, let Mario know they needed help. Princess Peach went in Mario's stead to leave Mario and Luigi to watch the Mushroom Kingdom while she was gone, funnily enough. They do a good job. They, it's like a little video game map. They go from map to map, just clearing things in like a little segment. It was funny. Nice. Not bad. And things fall apart when Bowser Jr. locates where Bowser is and he tries to steal the castle. And he pretty much hovers it outside of Earth's orbit, which things go wrong and it ends up falling. I'm skipping a bunch of stuff, but you know, all in all, Mario and Luigi have to meet up with Princess Peach in space. And they meet up pretty quickly, which I think was weird. There was no like troubles to meet her, like they sort of just meet her. And Bowser, there was a scene where Bowser sacrifices himself to be enslaved as an inmate on some, I don't know if it was the Flower Kingdom, but there was this giant big lady because they destroyed something, but the capsule collapsed and fell upon their kingdom and caused mass destruction. And Bowser decided to sacrifice himself as prisoner instead of Mario and Luigi. And while Bowser's like doing his hard labor, Bowser Jr. just finds him like that. You know, he's back in space. There wasn't really any. Bowser wasn't there long. He wasn't enslaved long. It's one of the things where I feel like the movie just wants to get to places. It feels like it's built for people that have a short attention span. That's the perfect way to describe the movie. And that's kids of today, I guess. They have short attention span, you know. And that's very unfortunate because people that like actually looking for a plot, you know, they notice that. Now, me, I didn't really bother me to a certain extent. I saw it as a flaw, but not enough to shit on the movie because, like I said, it's a Mario film. You know, it's not like a huge narrative. It's not anything deep. A lot of people wanted something deep from that first movie. They're dumb, in my opinion. They're dumb for that. The movie did what it was supposed to do. This movie did what it was supposed to do, but as I said before, the flaws can't be ignored. And there weren't that many flaws in my opinion. The guest characters were not a flaw. You know, just the story went a little too quick. And an hour and 30 minutes went by pretty fast in that theater, I must say. It went by pretty quickly. I noticed it was fast. A lot of people noticed it was pretty fast, but I didn't really mind that, you know. Now, oh yeah, there was one thing that did happen. They had the classic battle between Mario and Bowser. When you hit the button and he falls into the lava, that was pretty cool because that wasn't in the first movie. And when he fell into the lava, I was hoping he would turn into Dry Bowser, and he does become Dry Bowser in this film. He comes out of the lava. That was cool. In the mansion, Bowser Jr., he changes the color of his paint on him, and it's like some infernal demonic paint that he puts on himself. And just when you didn't think Bowser Jr. could get cooler, he does. And this version, I can't believe it. Like, they actually made him cooler than he was in the games. If you notice the new Mario Kart game, they took some certain designs from the movie, like Donkey Kong. They got rid of the classic Donkey Kong design that we all grew up with if you're from the late 90s era. They got rid of that Donkey Kong. I think that Donkey Kong's from Donkey Kong Country, so you can even say early 90s, I think. Whenever Donkey Kong Country came out. I don't know when that came out. I know it's on the Super Nintendo. That's an old console, but that had a long lifespan. So I can't really pinpoint when Donkey Kong Country came out, but Nintendo didn't make that design for Donkey Kong. The one that we all know, Rare made that design. And they finally retired it after the first Mario movie came out because they based that design off of the very first Donkey Kong design. So Nintendo decided to use that design for the new Donkey Kong game, I believe, and Mario Kart. So we're done with the Donkey Kong from Smash Ultimate. That Donkey Kong is gone, man. It's the end of an era, indeed. End of an era. The Dong will never extend again. But, you know, very expressive characters. So since Nintendo wants to take from the movies, you need to take the swag and the aura that Bowser Jr. had in this Mario film and give it to him in the games, because the canon Bowser Jr., get him out of here. Alright, you guys killed Koopa Kid. Koopa Kid's gone. It's time for you to evolve Bowser Jr. into the one from this film. So all in all, like I said before, good movie if you see it with the crew. You know, friends, you want friends or family, people that actually like Mario. If you see it alone, you're not going to have a good time unless you're a Mario dick rider. Now, here's where the real measurement begins, alright? I said to myself a year or two ago, I don't know how long it's been, probably a year or two, I forgot when the movie dropped. Will this movie be better than Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which adapted one of the greatest Sonic the Hedgehog storylines of all time, Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast? The Shadow the Hedgehog storyline. Would it be better than that film? Ladies and gentlemen, guess what my conclusion is? With all the guest characters that they added, Fox McCloud, Rob, the Pikmin, Mr. Game & Watch. Others that I'm probably missing that I can't remember at the moment. All those Nintendo cameos that diehard Nintendo and Smash fans remember. Even the dual barrel reference was made. Does it beat Sonic the Hedgehog 3? No, it does not beat Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I said it. The Sonic the Hedgehog 3 story, the structure and the narrative was just too powerful, just as I anticipated it would be. I'm well aware that the first Mario movie cock-slapped Sonic 1 and 2, but I knew the Shadow the Hedgehog storyline was just too brawling, too strong. I feel like Sonic Adventure 2 shits on the storyline of every Mario game that came before and after it. And I'm not even a Sonic the Hedgehog dick rider. I'm just speaking facts. I don't even know if the future Sonic games storyline even beat Sonic Adventure 2. It was just so mature, so plot heavy, so much character development from a game series that was sort of like Mario in a way. Lighthearted, you know, cool, lighthearted, colorful. Then it is, once they introduced Shadow the Hedgehog, it just changed the Sonic series forever, you know? Even with the lighthearted Sonic games after Sonic Adventure 2, it sort of just changed the way that those games were even structured as well, you know? Those games are taken a little bit more seriously, a little bit to a certain extent. Like Sonic Heroes, that was taken serious with Metal Overlord. That's a metal looking, well, no pun intended, but that's a metal looking character, you know? And you can say like the characters started looking metal with Sonic Adventure 1. Like you literally have a giant monster, apocalyptic monster with Sonic Adventure 1 with perfect chaos, you know? That was really like, you don't expect something like that from Sonic, just a monster like that. Low-key nightmare fuel. But I just feel like the Shadow the Hedgehog story, like, someone got shot, bro. Like, it was just such a serious story, you know? And that's just not what Mario's there for. And Sonic used to be like Mario, just light until Shadow came along, you know? I never played Sonic Frontier, but I imagine that story is pretty tough too. When they announce the next Sonic game, I'll probably play Sonic Frontier, right? I just beat Shadow Generation. Alright, I'm Sonic'd out after that. I just beat that game not that long ago. Great game, mind you. Really great game. I'm guessing that game takes from Sonic Frontiers. It probably is not as good as Sonic Frontiers, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Shadow, I never thought Shadow would get another game. That's another thing. I never thought he'd get another game, but this isn't about that, right? Let's get back to Mario. Mario just couldn't beat Sonic. That doesn't mean don't see it, you know. I think you're gonna enjoy it, like I said. But that's pretty much it. There's definitely good. It was good enough to warrant a sequel. There will be a next Mario movie. There was actually a post-credit scene that revealed Princess Daisy, which I sort of anticipated once they revealed Rosalina. I was like, you know, if they want to like glaze the princesses of this universe, then they're going to have Daisy. And I think her writing is going to be God tier in the third Mario film. I think she's going to have more screen time than Rosalina. Because in this movie, Rosalina was the damsel in distress, which they were allowed to do that. I mean, Princess was a damsel in distress in the first movie, but she threw hands, so it wasn't that bad. Rosalina, she threw hands in this movie, but she was absent for the majority of the film. You know, Fox McCloud actually like had people going crazy in the theater, you know. Even some, there was a chick I was sitting next to. She seemed to really, take a liking to Fox. And, you know, you guys know how I feel about furries, man. You know, it's no secret. It's no secret that I do not like furries at all in a sexual manner. You know, if you want to have them as a fictional character, fine. But once you get to the Rule 34 category, I fold my hands sternly and I stare at you seriously, judging you silently, wondering what the fuck you're doing. Alright? But that's pretty much it. Good movie. There's definitely going to be a sequel. They teased one. I don't know what could a sequel possibly be. It depends on what game Daisy's from. They're definitely going to have to base it off of a specific game. They did Galaxy, man. That's a big game. You can't do Sunshine after that. You know, we already used elements from Sunshine already. Can't do that. They might have to do Odyssey. I don't think so, but it all depends on the game Daisy's from. I'm not familiar with her game. I just know her from all the other games she's been a part of. But yeah, I don't want to be a broken record, so that's pretty much it. Super Mario Galaxy, the movie. Pretty good. Alright, I enjoyed it. They'll listen to the credits. The critics are just being too harsh in my opinion. Don't listen to the critics. See the movie yourself. Form your own opinions. Not the perfect Mario movie, but an acceptable Mario movie for what it was. That's it, guys. Peace.